Hi, welcome to the second part of this series on literate programming. By literate programming, what we mean is using R or other programming languages as a system for document preparation. So, in addition to using R as things like tools for data manipulation, like we saw with dplyr, or a tool for data visualization, like with ggplot, you can think of R can also function as a document preparation system. So you can use it to create websites, which is what we're doing today. But you can also use it to create CVs. You can use it to write journal articles. You can use it to create technical reports. You can create posters with it. There's all sorts of things like that where you can use R as a more general system for creating interesting documents. You can write books in R. I've written a book in R. It's a delightful experience that I'll probably repeat because I'm an idiot. But what we're going to do today is so we're using blogdown, and kindly this Danielle Navarro person, whoever she might be, has created a repository that has got us started. So we took that, we templated it, we created the waffle blog, and then we've opened up an RStudio cloud project using that GitHub repository. So GitHub is one site, and we've taken the code from over there, it's been imported over here, over to RStudio Cloud, and now we're working inside RStudio Cloud. Cool. So we've actually taken DJ Navarro's code, moved it over to Stringerbell's GitHub account, and then from Stringerbell's GitHub account, we have moved it across into Stringerbell's RStudio cloud account, which is all very complicated, and sometimes it feels needlessly so. So, okay, here we are. This is inside Stringerbell's, RStudio cloud project. Cool. There's all of her files and so on. Now, it's important to take a second before we start doing anything else of substance. Think about what precisely has come across. All of Danielle's files have come across because I've templated her repository. I've done all of those. I've moved that into RStudio Cloud. What hasn't come across is anything to do with the configuration of her system. That means her packages are not there. None of her weird things that are on her computer are there. It's just the files. So if we want to do something with tidyverse, I'll just prove it to you by attempting to load tidyverse. Library, tidyverse, because I know how to type. There is no package called tidyverse. Well, I had best fix that. So install dot packages, and this has to be in quotes. Don't ask me why. Later in the course I will explain why some things are in quotes and some things are not. For now, we take this on faith. This goes in quotes, so we say tidyverse. Okay, enter, and it starts installing things for us. It takes forever to do this, which is extremely obnoxious. Drives me crazy. So while I wait for that to do that, what I'll notice, there we go. So it's installing away. It's yeah, red text. Shut up. Don't care. As it happens, I was clever enough, or Danielle was clever enough, to leave behind a little script here called install packages, which actually has the list of all the packages that we need. So tidyverse, I just generally recommend having installed, and almost everything I ever do will have tidyverse as a requirement. But we're also going to use blogdown, which is a package that is used to create blogs and other kinds of websites in R and RStudio. So we'll talk quite a lot about what blogdown is and what it's made of as we go. I'm also going to, in order to make my life a little easier, do a thing that we wouldn't normally need to do for a standard blogdown setup, but I want to use the same repository and the same system that Danielle used. So this is starting to feel weird, wrote my own, this is really terrible, package called Slumdown, which basically does a little bit of the work for setting up this blog, but we don't actually need it for much. Okay, so I'll just install blogdown. Okay, so Control Enter to do that one. So that's going. While that continues to waste our time with installing all the various bits and pieces going that way, I'll talk about another useful trick here. So all the packages that we're installing, that I've been installing as we go in these videos, are all coming, they're all CRAN packages. CRAN stands for the Comprehensive R Archive Network, and it is the original and most definitive, arguably, source of all R packages that you can use. But it's not the only place. Very often when people are writing packages, they actually keep all the source code on GitHub. So when we install stuff from CRAN, we can use the install.packages function, right? Which is what I've been using everywhere. So I'll just I'll do that again to install the remotes package, and off we go. The remotes package is a useful way of installing software or installing R packages from sources other than CRAN. So sometimes this is really useful if you want to use in development, like packages that are in development. And the slumdown package, which is, it doesn't do anything other than create the little slumdown, the blogdown theme that I'm going to use, but hey, I'm going to use it anyway. So to do that, I need to now use this install GitHub function, right, to install DJ Navarro/slumdown. It's worth unpacking this a little bit because we've got this weird thing here called remote with remotes double dash. Let's ignore Danielle's foolishness for a moment. Control L to clear the console and go library remotes. Remotes? Yeah, that's not going to work. So we load that, right, and then we go install. So we could install from CRAN. Remotes has a function called install CRAN, but I'm just going to go install GitHub, hit enter there to do that, and then I'll be a little bit more precise here and say install Repo, right? So if you remember from the last video, everything on GitHub comes in the form of a repository, and a repository has an owner. That was DJ Navarro last time, and and then the repository has a name, and the repository for this particular R package I'm going to install is slumdown. There was a logic for calling it that at some point, and I've now forgotten. So we can do that, and it says unknown package from GitHub because I cannot type. Slumdown is not the name of my blog. Slumdown is, however. Please? Yay! It works! Okay, so now we're downloading and installing a package, but it's not coming from CRAN like it normally would when we set up the packages on a new machine. It's coming from GitHub. Right, so one nice thing, right, about this workflow that I'm trying to introduce through this is that I'm trying to give you a sense of all the things you can do with this with GitHub. Right, you can create R packages and distribute them using GitHub. I mean, at the moment we're just going to create a blog, but you can do all sorts of other stuff as well. Okay, cool. So we've installed Danielle's Slumdown blog, which is great. There are a bunch of other packages which we would need if we were going to use add-ins over here, which is in RStudio, which is a nice little menu system for accessing packages. I'm actually not going to use that in this video, but I would normally run those there. So now we are ready to go. Well, not quite. What's this blogdown install Hugo thing? Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to explain this. What's this remotes install GitHub? Very often when you see R code in the wild, you'll see people writing like this. All that this means is, if I go, so when I said before library, when I went to go library remotes, that loads the entire R package remotes into memory, and then you can use the commands. However, it's possible if you want to directly call any function inside a package we haven't loaded. So say I haven't loaded tidyverse yet, I don't think. So if I go, let's just check. I haven't, right? ggplot, it says could not find function ggplot. But I have installed tidyverse. I just haven't gone to library tidyverse. What I can do though is go ggplot2, which is the package that actually contains the ggplot function, double colon ggplot, and it'll do that, and I'll get another error message because it'll tell me, oh no, I forgot, you can actually call ggplot without giving it data. Okay, I was expecting it to ask me for data. Okay, it's created a little blank plot over there on the top right. Yay! Okay. So you can call functions directly from their packages without loading them, and sometimes you will see when you're going around doing R yourself, people will write stuff like that. So this means package name, remotes, the double colon means inside that package, please use the function, install Github, and then it's the same as usual. Okay, so, let's take a breath. I've had to explain a few core R concepts, and so now let's talk about blogdown. Okay, so we've got our RStudio project set up the way that we wanted to. We've got blogdown installed, but what precisely is blogdown? Blogdown is, quite frankly, a Frankenstein's monster. It is a weird conglomeration of lots and lots of different tools. So, at its heart, like one of the tools in it is a thing called Markdown. Markdown is a simple text-only format for writing documents, and in the remainder of this video I'll actually go through the gist of what Markdown is and how to use it. The second thing in there is R Markdown, which is a tool that allows you to use R code and Markdown at the same time. Blogdown is a tool where you can use R Markdown to write a blog, and in order to do that it uses Hugo, which I like to think of as a vile demon that lives inside Blogdown and that Blogdown summons to do its magic. Hugo is a content management system. It's basically a tool for building websites, and it's finicky as hell, and I hate it. Most of us hate it, but Blogdown actually uses it reasonably well, so I will scream at Hugo later on in these videos. Okay, so that's what Blogdown is. It's actually a system for stitching together lots and lots of tools and that are going to allow us to create websites. Awesome. Okay, so let's go build our blog, right? Well, we installed Blogdown, so I'll go library Blogdown and I'll tell it to serve site, right? That's going to basically pretend that RStudio is a web browser, and it'll actually run the blog using serve site. Okay, cool. Let's go do that then. And we go back over to RStudio Cloud. Let's just make that go away. Control L to clear my screen. And we go, okay, library, Blogdown. Okay, excellent. So now it's there. I can go serve site, and it's going to complain. Error, Hugo not found. You can install it via Blogdown install Hugo. Okay, so remember when I said just a moment ago, Hugo is a separate system. It is a tool that comes bundled with Blogdown, and it's used to create the websites. We actually need to install that separately. And Blogdown, the package, kindly enough has a function called install Hugo, which we can use to do that installation. And that double colon is the thing that is telling you that it's inside the Blogdown package. There was method in my madness, the bit where I appeared to be going around at random. I wanted you not to be surprised when you saw Blogdown double colon. Yeah, I've taught classes before. This is extremely boring. Let's actually just get to work, shall we? Alright, so we go in. Okay, please don't freeze. Why is this not working? Okay. No, nothing is working. Wow, my computer appears to have frozen. This is bad. Hello? Hello? Okay. It is extremely unhappy with me. If this goes on for very much longer, I'm going to have to start again. Aha! No? And let's go and restart the project. I'm going to run with this. I realize that this video is going longer than it should. This happens from time to time. Part of the course. Aha! There we go. So now where were we? Ah, yes. Install. Really not used to this keyboard. So bad at this. Install Hugo. Alrighty. And okay, done. So we now have a copy of Hugo running on our computer. So let's go back and do the thing from the slide on our computer, our RStudio project, serve site. Okay, so what it's going to do now, RStudio, which is running inside RStudio Cloud, which is running through my browser, is now going to pretend to be a browser. I swear the future is terrible. Okay, so there we go. We have inside the viewer pane over here, we have a copy of this website, alright, that is now running inside there. So it says, yeah, an introduction to Slumdown. This is because that's what that package is. It says, hello, what is this? This is me talking about it. We have some posts because it's supposed to be a blog, and those posts are a bunch of tutorials. And what we would like to do maybe is create one of these posts ourselves, because that's the whole point of this. Please. Yep. Okay. Let's do it. Remarkably, my tutorial has actually given me the thing that I need to continue. Okay. So, if I want to create a new post, there are a couple of ways I can do it. The way that you will do it most of the time in real life, is to go over here to the add-ins pane and go new post, and that gives you a nice little point and click system, and I thoroughly recommend using the point and click system in general. I'm going to do it the obnoxious way, using what's called, and this is the technical term, command line bullshit. No, really. This is an unnecessarily complicated way of doing it, which you would not typically need to do, but it is useful for teaching purposes, to illustrate that when we're creating a new post, it's actually just an R command like any other one. So we can go title. What's the title of our post going to be? It's going to be a very waffle. I do not know what is wrong with my fingers. I need to learn how to type. A very waffly post about waffles. Yep, okay. And I'm going to specify some other arguments as well. So I'm hitting tab to remind you to bring up the context menu. And, okay, so I'm going to specify the file extension. R Markdown lets you create blogs using plain Markdown, and that's what it'll do by default. But I am going to instead use R Markdown. R Markdown files have an RMD file extension. So that's different to .r, which is what we would use when creating a regular R script. And different to .md, which is what we would use if we were just writing raw Markdown. It's R Markdown. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's create it. It does a bunch of things, and it creates stuff. Yes, this definitely looks like stuff. Well, let's find out what I've done. Hopefully my tutorial, yes. Okay, has told me what I've done. So I've typed this command, new post, blah, 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 and it has created this document. And this document has some information about, so apparently when I did it originally, it was going to be called a waffle post. And over here on the right pane in the viewer, you can see a live preview of my changes. Ooh, that's awesome. Is that happening in mine? It is too. Under posts, so a very waffly post about waffles has now been created. So the title, I guess the title must be coming from there, right? doesn't seem terribly surprising. Let's be a little bit more explicit then. Every R Markdown document starts with what's called the Yamal header. I know, I swear this one is entirely terminology. YAML is short for yet another markup language, and you know, it feels like we keep learning these things, so that does seem appropriate. This section here is YAML, and I'm not going to talk much about what YAML is other than it is basically where you set the metadata. So the metadata for the post includes things like the title, but it also includes the author, which I did not specify. Well, I better do that now. If you look over here, just quickly, I'll click on the post. It doesn't have an author there. So let's go back over here into my document and then type Stringer Bell. So she is now the author. So Control S to save it, and it automatically runs and shows the live preview by Stringer Bell. Awesome. That actually seems kind of useful. A lot of in practice, when you're creating our Markdown blog posts, this kind of magical auto previewing is really helpful. And because I like to explain the magic as much as I can, the reason what's doing that is that serve site command that I typed at the beginning. What that means is that it's essentially that blogdown is watching this .rmd file, and anytime it notices changes, it updates the preview over there, which is really handy. Cool. All right, let's go back to the post. All right, for the sake of everybody's sanity, because this has been going way longer than it should have, I'm going to talk in the next section, just to give us all a break. I will stop this video, and I'll start the next one. And in the next one, I'll talk about how to edit this document. End. Stop.